Are you a ready boy?
Look at the ready boy, ready for some production tips.
Oh, your breath. Fuck. I'm Josh from Modestep, and I'm here to show you my top 5 production tips. Tip number 1, and this is a tip that has helped me get through our entire last EP and a lot of our recent music, is to write the song before you even set out to produce anything. So what I tend to do, because I play piano and I sing, is I tend to write the song on piano first and try and get some kind of catchy something, because a lot of our stuff is vocal based. So I'll try and get something down, just piano and voice first. I record that into Ableton, and then that gives me a really good starting position to actually try and produce a tune around it, based on the theme of the song and also the style of the song as well. Prime example of that is I've always got the voice notes app on my phone ready to go, and this was May 2018 where I recorded which might sound like absolute mumbling gibberish, but ended up being our last single that came out, Running for Real Life. So you know, always have ideas ready to go, and I've got like an entire voice notes, about 400 different ideas that I've sung into my phone, which are ready to be our next songs. Tip number 2 is never to throw anything away. Even if there's projects that you never used, or there's some sounds in some projects that you did use, but the sounds didn't end up making it into the song, you can go out and bounce those one-shots or those drums and create a folder of them and use them to start new ideas. I do this a lot, and it's helped me finish drops before where, you know, I haven't had an idea for a sound and I've just gone through a bunch of old sounds that I've made and they've fit perfect. So yeah, one man's junk is another man's treasure. Production tip number 3 is to try and mix your songs as you go. I used to, back in the day, get to the point where I finished my song and I was super happy with it, but then it meant jumping into a whole new world of mixing. And that would be a separate session, separate everything, and it would kind of mean like starting from square one. And I feel like if you mix as you go, and you make things sound as you want them to sound right at the end from the very beginning, you save yourself a lot of time and hassle, and you actually learn new processes along the way. Number 4, and this one is probably my most important tip, is while you're not producing music, make sure that you listen to tons and tons and tons of music, especially more experimental stuff and stuff that uses more advanced techniques. If you can listen to it and try and break down with your ears what's happening before you step into a room to actually produce, you've already got some kind of inspiration on techniques that could happen before you sit down. So I listen and listening to it not just to enjoy the music and get a vibe, but also technically listening to it. I listen to a bunch of music that is way above my means of production in order to critically listen and see what it is that they're doing. And try and work it out before I even sit down at a laptop. And that just, I don't know, I think it increases the ability, your listening ability and your way of being able to critically break down sounds. So yeah, listen to as much music as you possibly can before you even step in the studio. Tip number 5, which kind of covers some of the other stuff we talked about, is remixing your own ideas. So even if you've got a finished tune, take the vocal off, strip everything else off, and use that as a starting point to start a new idea. You might not even end up with that vocal on the tune, it might not be a remix, but it will send your production into a vibe from the get-go. So I do this a lot. I take songs that we've already done, throw in the vocal, make an entire different tune, vocal comes off, and it ends up being its own tune. So yeah, that's top tip number 5. I think that's all my tips, isn't it? Check out my tips. See ya.
And that's it for another video on the Disciple YouTube channel. If you liked it, thumbs. If you really liked it, don't forget to subscribe for much more content like this coming very soon.